Ange Postecoglou is set to be named the new manager of Spurs, and in today's video we're going to look at his 4-3-3, put it in to FM23, see how it does with Tottenham Hotspur. I've also got 4 or 5 transfer recommendations because the squad is going to need a lot of tweaking this summer if he wants to implement the 4-3-3 from the start. Alright guys, let's get into it. Here is the tactic. Now, if you want this tactic as a direct download, head over to the link down in the description. Takes you to the Patreon where you can download it. If not, don't worry, we'll go through all the player instructions, all the team instructions, so you can copy it over the next 5 minutes. Okay, so the first thing we're going to go into the team instructions just to give us a little idea of how we're setting up the team. So, attacking mentality, relentless press, ranking highest for sort of like passes into the final third, deep completions, progressive passes. So I thought attacking, that kind of high risk, high reward strategy probably suits the attacking mentality. Passing to space is on because I do like the centre forward to sometimes drop off, pops it off to maybe a deeper midfielder, and obviously they have the wide players in Jota and Abada at Celtic, very good at getting in behind, so we've got that on. We've also got the underlaps on left and right. They often come up against teams with low blocks. He's wanting to implement that possession-based style where you're looking at, plus 60% possession a lot of the time. So what we need is a lot of runs from deep, and we're going to try and get that with our inverted wing-backs and also from the central midfielders. Standard passing directness, we've just got standard. You could maybe, if you're just seeing the possession stats a little bit low, just pop that one down to shorter, but I've kept it on standard. And then tempo, slightly higher to start with. I have been tweaking this through games. If we're finding it a little bit hard, we're a little bit sluggish in terms of chances created and stuff like that, I have been moving it up to higher. Don't want to take working to box on because we'll naturally have that a little bit with the underlaps and stuff anyway. We have got Harry Kane here at Spurs, so we do want a few balls into the box. A little bit different at Celtic when they played with the Japanese striker. Is it Kyogo Furuhashi? He's only 5'7", so the balls into him obviously have to be a little bit different. In transition, we're asking the goalkeeper to roll it out. We want him to roll it out. As you can see, the pass completion map from the first game of the season, pretty good. He's rolling it out from the back, so we can start with a build-up. Counter press, counter attacking. We want to hit teams on the break with the players we've got in the wide areas. We also want that counter pressing, that relentless press. It does help as well with the inverted wing backs. Out of possession, we've got high press, much higher defensive line, trigger press more often, everything else left blank. If anything, you could maybe put pressing trap on the inside to force it into that middle third where you've got 2 really aggressive number 8s. Okay, so moving on to the players themselves. We've got the sweeper keeper on defend. No player instructions. We've put him on defend just so we can make sure that he passes it out a little bit shorter from the back. Now, Celtic have predominantly played with inverted wing-backs. We've got right side and left side, both inverted wing-backs on support. Fingers crossed they will, in build-up, come into these areas here to help progress in the play. They will also do these runs, in particular because we're playing with 2 wide players. We want to see them on these underlapping runs. It works a lot better when you've got the inverted wing backs on. Really good in possession. These need to be 2 very good technical footballers. So 2 central defenders, ball playing defenders on defend. If you have got a good dribbler amongst one of the 2, you could add that instruction. Romero we've got on the right side, ball playing defender. Left side is going to need a little bit of work, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The middle 3, we've got a defensive midfielder on support, tackle harder, mark tighter. Central midfielder on attack. This has often been sort of like a Matt Riley or a, what's the Australian dude called? Aaron Moy, breaking into the box late, supporting the player, but also being a very, very good presser. The left-hand side, we've gone with a Mazzala. We've had to put Kulusevski there because Spurs' current squad with players that are out on loan, unfortunately, aren't great, but he's done a pretty decent job. No player instructions. The idea is that these 2 players are really getting up here, so they kind of have 2 wide players still in right wide, Kane in the middle, the central striker in the middle, and then the 2 8s moving up to make sort of like a line of 5. So often a build-up will be sort of like a 2-3-5 with the 2 wing-backs inverting with the defensive midfielder. Out to the wide players as well, we've got winger on attack. That would be the Abada role on the right-hand side. The left-hand side, we've got Richarlison playing as the left winger. This is the Jota role, a player that I've loved watching over the last couple of days, where I've just been watching a little bit more of the Celtic over the last few seasons. Brilliant on this left-hand side, both footed, so we've got him roam from position because he does like to drift. As you can see as well, don't worry, it doesn't mean that they're going to stick to that left-hand side. I think if Son was on this side, it'd be a little bit of an issue, but Jota does like to go left, he does like to go right, and as you can see, Richarlison's dribbles from the opening game of the season, he is drifting inside and dribbling inside, so don't worry about that. I think if the player instructions, look, cuts inside from both wings, if you've got that with a winger, you'll be fine. Similar to what Anthony is at Manchester United, you want that wide, real attacking width, is what we're trying to create here, is an overload in the central midfield, with the inverted wing-backs coming in to allow Richarlison and Son, the two wide players, to have 1v1s in the wide area. And then up front, like at the moment with the guy at Celtic, the Japanese striker Furiashi, they've kind of gone with a presser because he's tremendous without the ball. For Harry Kane, it could literally be anything. So that maybe just a personal preference for whatever style, whatever team you're implementing. Probably a pressing, but pressing forward would be the most suited to the tactic, in particular what you're trying to recreate with a press. We have got Harry on as a pressing forward, but I've just asked him for roam from position. So hopefully we can get him dropping into sort of like little half spaces, dropping off, giving the centre half something to think about, and then having late runs from a Højbjerg. Now that is the player instructions. The problem Spurs have got is the squad. So they need a new goalkeeper because Lloris is going. So a few little recommendations could be Jordan Pickford, Valencia goalkeeper Jordi Mamadashvili. Hope I've got that right. Probably not. Or bit of a wild card, Dynamo Zagreb keeper, always does well in the Euros and World Cups, Dominik Livakovic. Basic build-up, they're not asking for something absolutely spectacular, but he did bring Joe Hart to Celtic Park to do that and has done a pretty good job. Right wing-back, we're going to leave because even though Porro's not well suited to it, they've got two there with him and Emerson, so I can't imagine them strengthening there. They'll have to get on with that. Romero, yes. Left-sided centre-half, no. Eric Dyer can come out. And there's options. The big one would be Pau Torres. Other options could be Everton and Ndicka, who's available on a free. Mickey van der Ven, who is at Wolfsburg. Or Arthur Thite, who is at Stade Rennes. Left back needs some work as well. Davies, Sessegnon, Perisic will be a little bit of an issue. They have got Reguilon coming back. Whether they look at keeping him. Option otherwise could be Renan Lodi, who was brilliant at Nottingham Forest, or even Rafael Guerreiro, who is available on a free. Into the middle of midfield, they've got 2 out of the 3. Okay, they've got Bentancur, they've got Højbjerg, they've got Basuma that could do this role and potentially this role with an aggressive sort of like box-to-box midfielder. They do need a little creative spark in there. I have gone with Kulusevski, who could do a job out there. Another option, instead of spending money, because they're going to have to spend money in defence, another option, if they're not going to go down the route of maybe a James Maddison, is to bring back Giovanni Lo Celso. He came in at just the wrong time at Spurs. Poch was then sacked during that season, never quite got the opportunity, and then managers such as Mourinho, Nuno, Conte were never going to be a fan of this kind of a nice little playmaker who was injured for the World Cup. He would have been going to the World Cup instead of probably McAllister as a starting position. So just to show that he does have the quality. So that is potential there. Lo Celso going in there. And in the wide areas, you've got Son, you've got Richarlison, you've kind of got Kulusevski. Another option would be to bring in, maybe the fourth signing would be to bring in Jota from Celtic. You could maybe do a deal. They bought him for 6.25 or something like that. So, you know, a deal around £20 million. Potentially they might be able to get Jota through the door, give us a load of balance. We'll give the opportunity for Richarlison to play to the right, Son to play maybe down the middle a little bit as well, to cover for Kane, Richarlison to play down the middle. So that would be my signings to help boost Tottenham this season. All right, everybody, that is it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments which tactical replication you would like to see next on the channel. I hope you've enjoyed the shorter format. Let me know down in the comments what you think. I'm trying to get the videos under 10 minutes. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. See you later.